everybody. This is Bob Iacchino along with Mike Arnold. It is June 14th. This is an afternoon pat chat covering the futures markets. You can see on your screen a VIX chart. Not much of a move there. The Fed meeting today was as expected. However, they did reveal that they are planning to begin shrinking the balance sheet this year, and approximately by how much? 20 to 30 billion is going to be allowed to roll off. It's a very interesting, slightly hawkish meeting. They didn't really change their view of 3 rate hikes in the face of declining CPI. They talked about full employment. Janet Yellen was pretty steady in the idea that things are transitory and they're going to pick up. And that's where she sits. And that's where the Fed sits. And to me, it seemed more like the Fed is less data dependent and more dependent on getting rates and accommodation where they want them. To me, it really felt like leaving themselves runway for a future crisis. It's just the way it felt to me. I don't know that that's the case, but that's sure what it seemed like given the recent data and the way their statement was essentially a hawkish statement. We had CPI come out today, as I mentioned earlier, weakening CPI. We had a 1.7% increase on CPI. It was expected to be up 2%. We talked this morning about some of the disappointment in the UK employment numbers, and we got a similar batch of disappointment in the US CPI as well as the retail sales. Retail sales came in down 0.3 on the headline number, down 0.3. Less autos. Both were expected to be higher than that. As we mentioned, Fed hiked rates. Japanese foreign bond buying was up to 526.6 billion yen. Australian consumer inflation expectation was up 3.6%, and the Aussie unemployment change, they increased by 42,000 jobs. The rate went to 5.5% from 5.7%. That's really about it. Donald Trump is being investigated by Special Counsel Robert Mueller for obstruction of justice. That came out today. There was the shooting of Steve Scalise, GOP House Whip Steve Scalise. Apparently, he's in critical condition right now. 4 people were injured, and 1 died, mainly the shooter. The shooter is the one who died. He was oddly from Illinois. That's about it. So other than that, we'll go to price action, and we will turn it over to Mike so he can show you what happened in the price action. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bob. Quick look at the VIX. Slight uptick today. Closing 1064, still in the 10 range. Nothing really going on there, even with the slight sell-off in the NASDAQ. Let's head over to the financial futures now. Zoom in a bit. All right, new high again in the Dow futures, getting up to a high of 21,346, closing at 21,327. If we do continue higher, the next level up is still this 21,370 area, followed by some new additional targets upside to 21,455 to 21,475. Next level up beyond that. If we do pull back, 21,237, first level that we're watching for support. Next level is 21,212. Then if we violate that, we could see a drop to 21,129 and then 21,093. Switching over to the S&P. S&P rallied up to, let's see, high 2443.25, which is the tick shy of the previous high of 2443.50. So didn't quite make it there, but very close. Closed slightly lower. On the rally tomorrow, that 2443 to 2443.50 is going to be very key resistance. If we get through that, 2455 to 2456. On a pullback, minor support is going to come in at about 2430 to 2431. More significant support is going to come in at this 2425 to 2425.50 area. 2 lows right in there and a key open. So that's going to be key. And then if we fall down below that, 2418.75 to 2418 really. Rising 21 and 25% GAN pullback level. So those are the key things we'll be watching for tomorrow. Finally, over to the NASDAQ, which has run up just getting above this key GAN cluster, spiking through the 8, but then falling back down to close lower for the day. So on a rally back up, 57.68 to 57.73, first level of resistance. Then we're going to be watching for 57.90. If we get through 57.90, we'll be looking for 58.18 to 58.19, and then a potential to 58.37.50. If we pull back tomorrow, there's going to be some minor support right around this 57.29 level. Then we'll be watching for some major support around 56.85. If we do fall through there, then we're going to be watching for the rising trend line, rising 50, which is going to come in about 56.53 area. That's what's going to be key tomorrow. And then slightly below that, we have another GAN level at 75% on this most recent run-up, coming in at 56.40. Switch over to crude. Crude oil for the day. Came up to the rotation zone. This is why we follow the rotation zone. Spiked into it a little and then collapsed back down through our trend line. So that is key. We did get through that trend line. This is into a clear path. We could eventually see a full move down to about 43.41 on that. So that's going to be key to watch for a little longer term should we continue this sell-off. Tomorrow, that's about the next level, 43.41. We'll get some support around today's lows, 44.50, 43.41. Then we could see it all the way down to 43.76. On a rally back up, we'll be watching to potentially kiss the trend line goodbye, coming in about 45.31. Next key level, 45.93. Then 46.26. Then we have some key high areas, about 46.50 to 46.70 is going to be key with the also declining 8. Switching over to copper. Copper coming down today. 3-day fall back into this tight range again. Nearly getting down to our significant level. Stopping just short of a key GAN level, 255.99. The actual low today was 256.05. So support going to come in tomorrow, 255.75 to 255.99. If we break through there, we'll be watching for 254.64. Then a potential area about 253.82. If that is broken, nothing else down until 251.62, which would also get us below the trend line. And I actually have to redraw this trend line to update it to the proper defining point, which is at that 251.62 level. Rally back up, minor resistance coming in at 258.14 area, hooking over 21 to 58.45 where the flat 50 is coming in. If we get through that, we're going to be watching for a return to about the 260.32 level. Then a potential return to 261.65. Switching over to gold. Gold spiking up, nearly kissing the trend line goodbye, which is not official redraw yet, then dropping back down to close lower on the day. If we head lower tomorrow, first area of support is 1258.90 to 1258 right in here. Then we'll be looking at 1256.60 and then possibly down to 1251. If we do break through that, next major significant level is 1247. Rally back up. Minor resistance could come in about this 1271 to 1272 area right in here. Then we'll be watching for 1278. Then we'll look again up to this about 1282.50 to 1284.50 as key resistance. Finally, over to silver. Silver also big spike up. Getting through the trend line, but then dropping back down, although closing up on the day. If we do rally, we're going to have minor resistance at the 1688 to 89 level. Then we'll be watching for the resistance zone of 1703 to 1706. Then we'll be looking for 1716 and then a possible return to this 1736 area. If we head lower, support coming in at 1680. Then we'll be watching for 1670 to 71. then we can possibly fall to the 1658 area, which is also the end of the clear path, which was triggered by this close below the trend line. That's all we have for you. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you for that, Mike, and thank you guys for watching another Path Chat. Hit like and subscribe if you like what we are doing, and we will talk to you guys in the next Path Chat. Cheers, everyone.